What's up, guys? Frizzy here, and today we're doing something a little different. Yesterday was my return to Ravnica pre-release, or at my store. Sunday afternoon, I was gonna pick Golgari, but the night before, I got a Facebook message from a buddy of mine, saying that Golgari was getting double rares, and basically, that's exactly what was happening. If you pick the Golgari, your packs were getting double rares. Not even like rare foil, which is how it's supposed to go, or mythic rare foil. They were getting rare, mythic rare, just non-foils. And it was like, that's pretty, I don't know. Maybe they just don't know how to package stuff. Maybe there was a mistake of some sort, but that's pretty nuts. But, anyways, with that said, when they said that, I figured, well, they're probably going to run out Golgari tomorrow, so, if they do, I'll just go with Azorius. And so I went, and the guy that works there, I know him pretty well, and I told him, hey, I want Golgari, but, give out the Golgari boxes first. So if you guys run out, I'll just take Azorius then. Because even though Golgari, I love Golgari, I don't think it was, in terms of at least sealed, it didn't seem all that great to me. Although last night it changed my mind. But with that said, Azorius is really, really good. And I'm glad I made the switch. Azorius was just kicking ass. I did end up going 2-1-1. We only played 4 rounds because people were dropping left and right. And the draw that I had basically was because my opponent, she was very new to Magic. And basically taking 5 to 10 minutes each turn. And it's only a 40-minute round. So I ended up winning the first game pretty fast. I conceded the second game after I mulled the 5 because it wasn't a good hand, and I was thinking, well, she's going to take a really long time. I have no problem. I could beat her easily. And I know that's kind of a try-hard thing to say, but there was only 15 minutes left, and the first round I beat her fast. That's how long it went. So I was like, oh, maybe I could squeeze in a win here, and unfortunately it didn't end up going that way. Both the boards were equal, and I couldn't draw my instance that I needed. So we ended up drawing, which ruined my tiebreakers. I ended up getting 6, getting only 2 packs. I wanted more packs, damn it. I wanted more packs. But even though I did go Azorius, I did get some amazing pulls out of my Azorius box. I got a Lot Lift Troll, an Abrupt Decay, a Deathrite Shaman, and a foiled Deathrite Shaman. That's pretty good. And the colors I ended up going with for my deck were blue, white, red, pretty much America Tempo, as I saw in a comment on another video. America Tempo, which is really, really, really good. Oh my god. The first match I lost to Golgari, and it was basically because even though Detain is a really good mechanic, what really beats Detain is Dregmangler, that 3/3 haste guy, and I'll post a picture of the card on the thing. That guy really beats Detain. Anything with haste really beats Detain. But other than that, it was no problem. The first game, I made a big mistake. I just, with new sets, and especially one like this where it's multicolored, you gotta really be careful what you keep. And I did keep a good hand, but I ended up making a mistake that really was the difference. And I can't go into really detail about that because it's just going to take a long time to explain. But I ended up making a mistake. And then the second game, I had Tempo in my hand, and I was like, good. So if he plays Dregmangler, I could cancel. I could do whatever I want. I have Tempo. And he ends up, when I tap out for my Vessel Soul, he ends up playing Pack Rat. And I'm like, well, there went my Tempo. Nothing I can do there. I can't control him or nothing because all he's going to do is discard cards. The only thing I can hope for is that I could bounce this guy, still have enough mana open to cancel something. And it didn't end up going that way. He just played Pack Rat, kept making tokens, and that's all he really needed to do. And I ended up winning. Or he ended up winning. 2-0, and after that was the draw, and then I ended up winning the other 2 matches pretty easily. But still, Azorius I think is really good. Now into the deck that I have, and I'm going to post images of the cards I talk about in my deck. I had the Gil Gates. Gil Gates are really good. I had 1 Azorius Gil Gate and 2 Izzet Gil Gates. And, man, it's really important that you guys get these Gil Gates. If you're playing draft, really important that you guys pick these up. you're playing in a format where there's a lot of dual color spells, and a lot of these dual color spells are really good. So you can't be afraid to splash for anything. You can't go two colors. I mean, you can, but it's going to be pretty difficult to get the cards that you want because everybody's going to be dipping into your colors. And even for monocolored spells, everybody's going to be dipping into those colors because some of them are just really, really good. So very, very, very important that you get your Gil Gates and you splash for 3 colors. It's just the better way to go. I didn't have any 1-drops. Again, I was like America tempo, so there wasn't really a need to be all dude heavy. I was more spell heavy. I had Is It Charm. Is It Charm's a really good card. Usually what ended up happening with Is It Charm was I was just doing 2 damage to a lot of things. I only countered 1 spell. I did draw 2 cards like twice, but I ended up just dealing 2 damage to kill stuff a lot. Dramatic Rescue, great card. Great card. I love this card. It's pretty much an unsummon for 2 mana and you gain 2 life. And it's great for tempo, man. That's what it does. It's just tempo. It also just, you could save your own creatures, especially if you got any creatures that have enter the battlefield effects. It's really good, and the 2 life was actually very relevant the whole night. The 2 life that you gain off the card is very relevant. Inaction Injunction. I also had 3 of these, and these cards did a lot of work for me. Detain, as a mechanic in general, at first I didn't think it'd be so hot, but man, Detain is amazing. Detain is such a good mechanic, especially for cards that say Detain permanent, because you can stall out your opponent real bad if you have a Detain permanent card. Because I had the, let's see here, I'm going to skip ahead here just so I can tell you. I had the Skynight, Lev Skynight, which is a 3/1 flyer. When Lev Skynight enters the battlefield, detain target non-land permanent opponent controls. I was detaining Chromatic Lanterns. I was detaining the green mana card. I was detaining a lot of things, a lot of permanents that was really like it hurt them so much to detain those. Like, it was really good. But Inaction Injunction is just a cycle with detain, and it's really, really good. And I think this card specifically might end up being in standard somewhere. This card's really good, and I'll be picking those up in draft a lot too. New prop Guildmage. I was very disappointed. I never got to play this guy once. His 5 mana ability is really good. It's really, really, really good. It's just a martial law on a guy. And martial law is a really good card. So imagine just having it on a guy and doing it whenever you want. Usually you want to do it during your turn, but sometimes there's, places where you want to do it during their turn. So, but I never got to play him, which is unfortunate. Detention Sphere, really good card in this format. It did work, man. I never got to do more than one, so it ended up just being a regular Oblivion Ring. But it was still, again, an Oblivion Ring, so that's pretty good in itself. Annihilating Fire deals 3 damage to target creature or player. An instant. If a creature would die, this way, exile instead. If a creature dealt damage this way, would die this turn, exile instead. So, good 3 mana removal, and it was pretty much like the last one in, because the double red I felt was like kind of iffy, but still a good card. It was good removal. It removed some creatures and did good. Avenging Harold, I actually never got to play with this card either, but I saw it played against me a couple times, and this card is so flexible. At first, people were shitting on it because you thought you had to attack in, but if you block with something, anything at all, like this card goes to work. Avenging Harold is a really good removal card. Soria Ski Room. This card was doing some work. I think this is the best key rune out of all of them. And I know that's a little biased because I was playing with it, but it becomes a 2/2 flyer, and evasion like that is very irrelevant. It's very relevant, and it's also mana fixing. Gets you on turn 5, on turn 4, so it's awesome. Facile Soul, good creature. This is going to be one of the creatures. Anything with hybrid mana cost, these are going to be like the most stolen creatures in drafts. So. It's solid 2/2 flyer for 3. There's obviously a better one in the white one, but this one is easily splashable for white or blue. Leaf Skynight, again, did work. It's permanent, and I was doing it on like key runes and chromatic lanterns. It just did a lot of work. Is it Staticaster? I was actually very disappointed with this card. And not because like it sucked or anything. It did kill creatures, but the problem is that it's a flash haste, so you can flash it in, deal 1 to something, which is cool. You can also block with it because it's a 0/3, so it's going to block a lot of the 2Xs or whatever. But it seems only better when you have multiples of them. There was one time where I sided multiples of them because my opponent had a lot of X2s. And when you have a multiple on the battlefield, and I got to do it once, which was great, when you have multiple of it, awesome. Everything's dying. And it has your opponent just stuck. They can't play any of their X2s. So they're like Selesnya, they're done for if you have multiples of Izzet Staticaster. But with that said, I only sided in the multiple. I ended up just playing 1 the whole night. Essence Backlash. This card is Grated Shield. I don't know how amazing it's going to be in draft. I think it's still pretty good, but it was great in sealed. Especially, everybody gets to play their promos. Their promos aren't cheap. The only one that evades this is the land, I think. I'm pretty sure. But like even for a Corpse Jack Menace, Essence Backlash, they take 4, very, very relevant. Skymark Rock, another great creature. First of all, it's a 3/3 for 4, which that's a good start. A 3/3 flyer for 4. And then whenever it attacks, you may return target creature defending player controls with toughness 2 or less to its owner's hands. This guy's amazing. Goblin Rally. This is also an underrated card. This card was doing work for me too. Just getting 4 1/1s out there. And then I'm the control deck, so I'm like bouncing whatever blockers they have back to their hand, dealing 4 every time. Pretty good. Pyro Convergence. I'm actually shocked at how well this card did for me last night. I had a lot of dual color spells and creatures. I think I had 12. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure I had 12. And man, it's just so good. With that said, I still kind of compare it to Burning Vengeance. You got to build a deck around it. You can't just throw it out there willy-nilly if you had like 3 multicolored spells. You got to have more than that, because you're tapping out for this in turn 5. So they get to play whatever they want. It might screw you over, and it did one time where I tapped out for this when I could have held back for a cancel, and it just ended up ruining me. But it still did work for me last night, and won me a game, so it was good. Tristana Judgement. And first off, this is going to be the reason why I say Selesnya, I think, got the worst of the deal here in terms of mechanics. Exile target creature, then populate. That's what it says on Tristana Judgement. Nobody cares about the populate on this card. It's such a throw-in on this. Exile target creature, that's really good. Even for 6 mana, that is amazing. And it's an instant, so you do it whenever. The reason why I say Selesnya got an unfair shake on their mechanics is because no matter what deck you are, if you see Tristana Judgement, you're going to play it. You're going to even splash for it. If you're like blue, black, red, or some shenanigans like that, you see Tristana Judgement being passed to you, you're like, what? I'm taking this if it gets past you. All the good Selesnya cards are going to be picked up by other players because they're just better. Like Rootborn Defenses is a good trick that I saw last night, played in a non-Selesnya deck. And there's other cards too that I'm pretty sure that have Populate on it that, if you're trying to build a Selesnya deck in draft or in sealed, like, people are taking this card regardless of what deck they are. So Tristana Judgement is a great card, by the way. So no matter what type of deck you are, the Populate does not matter whatsoever. It's just exile target creature. Skyline Predator, I love Flash Flyers. This guy's good. 3/4 Flash Flyer. He was doing work. And whereas Fairy Invaders seemed obvious, Skyline Predator doesn't. And the reason why, because it's 6 mana. And that's a very big difference. Usually when you're at 6 mana, people are not thinking, oh, well, he's got a big thing to play. By that time, you have 1 card in your hand, so they're thinking it's like something else, 1 or 2 cards. Me, not much, because I had an action Injunction. And I had, I'm a tempo deck, so I'm not playing everything in my hand, but it's 6 mana. You usually have 2 cards left in your hand by that time, and they're not going to really put you on a Skyline Predator, which is kind of funny. Palisade Giant does work. This bitch is amazing. It's so good. It stalls the game out so bad, especially when I'm playing my deck. I'm tempo, I'm bounce, I'm detain. You'll never be able to deal 7 to me on a turn. I'm just going to bounce whatever you have back. You have to do something else to kill this. And this is amazing. It just did so much amazing stuff for me. It won me some games there. And Archon of the Triumphant, I think it was like one of the best. Well, it's not one of the best promos. It was really good. When it enters the battlefield, detain up to 2 target non-land permanents. So it's basically like you can't block, swing in with team and win the game. Like that's how it ended up going for me. And that's my deck. I'm not going to tell you guys about the sideboard. I mean, the sideboard's pretty standard, you know, artifact, enchantment, hate, blah, blah, blah. But that was my deck, and I loved it. It did work for me. I did end up only going 2-1-1, but I probably could have gone 3-1 easily. And, yeah, this deck just, man, I loved it. It was very tempo-ish. Inaction Injunction was an all-star, so was Dramatic Rescue. And, yeah, I mean, word of advice, if you guys are going to be drafting this set, blue-white, Azorius and Golgari seem to have the best way to win. I mean, you know, you got tempo with blue-white, splashing red, and then Golgari, green-black. You can splash whatever else you need to help your deck win with the Golgari deck. And then you always want to pick up guys like Dreg Mangler because they're just hasty dudes that get in there for a bunch. But anyways, that was my Return to Ravnica sealed pre-release, and I had a ball. It was fun. It was great. Got my cards, and now I'm going to be drafting some more and some more. So if any of you guys liked the video, leave a like, rating, comment, subscribe. I don't know, do all that stuff. And yeah, let me know how your pre-releases went. Anyways, I'm Frizzy. You guys have a nice day. Peace out.